Did you know that people who have been homeschooled do not have to show any proof of high school grades to get into ICC? I know this because I was strictly homeschooled up until a few years ago when I started taking classes at ICC. Many people are unaware of this fact because few people are homeschooled. In this speech, I'm going to discuss customs, my background, and stereotypes all in homeschooling. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about some customs homeschoolers have. There was a survey on Midwest Parent Educators that was posted in an article titled Homeschool Survey Outside Opportunities that revealed that 61% of the homeschooled families that were surveyed attended a co-op for educational classes. I have attended co-op groups, although I attended them for socializing and not education. When you are homeschooled, you must find your own ways of socializing and making friends. When attending the co-op groups, I do remember children who were there for the learning. For example, we once went on a nature hike and some of the children had to pick out a plant or item on the hike to later research. Another custom that homeschool children have is that parents decide how you are educated. In a public school, you must follow what every other student in your grade is doing. However, when you are homeschooled, your parents will decide what subjects you will take, when you will take them, and at what pace you will take them. The state of Illinois also does not check in on homeschoolers to make sure they are getting the proper education needed, so the parents must do that. An article on Illinois' Christian Home Educators titled Illinois' Law on Homeschooling, written by Jeff Lewis, who is a member of the Illinois Christian Home Educators Board of Directors. Jeff states, in Illinois, you enjoy the freedom to shape your school day and your curriculum for your children's specific needs and talents. The Illinois state government does not require testing, evaluation, or special oversight. Now that I have discussed some of the customs of homeschooling, I'm going to discuss a little bit of my background in it. In a book titled Education, Opposing Viewpoints, Isabel Lyman writes, in 1996, the Florida Department of Education surveyed 2,245 homeschoolers, and 31% of that number returned the survey. Of that group, 42% said that dissatisfaction with the public school environment was their reason for launching a home-educated program. Although this seems to be the main reasoning parents decide to homeschool their children, my parents' reasoning was different. My parents first started homeschooling in 2005 when my older sister Maddie had a medical condition that caused her to be pulled from school multiple times. After she was pulled from school so many times, they thought it would be best to keep her home for her education. The success of my older sister being homeschooled led my parents to homeschool me and my 4 younger siblings. An article was written by Brian Ray on the National Home Education Research Institute titled Research Facts on Homeschooling gives data gathered from the National Household Education Survey. That data reveals that in 2016, there were 2.6 million home-educated students. I and my 5 siblings were a part of those children. There are several different ways to homeschool. Some people use books, others watch videos, and some even have video calls with other homeschoolers and teachers. My family chose to homeschool with books, such as these. Although I have never been to public school, I would assume it's like my schooling. I have test books, quiz books, and homework assignments. Although we do teach some of our classes a little differently. For example, for my home economics class, I'm required to cook 1 meal a week and help my little siblings with their homework. One of the advantages of being homeschooled is that I get to pick from a wider variety of subjects. Of course, through the years, I've had to take all the basic classes such as math, English, history, and science. But when it comes to most anything else, I can choose from things such as sign language, music, literature, and art, just to name a few. Now that I've given some background into my homeschooling culture, I'm going to talk about some stereotypes that come along with it. Many people think that homeschoolers are uneducated, and that is simply not true. A book titled Worldwide Guide to Homeschooling, written by Brian Ray, who is the president of the National Home Education Research Institute, proves that. Brian writes, dozens of studies have now been completed, often involving analysis of standardized achievement test scores. On average, homeschooled students outscore their public school peers by 15 to 30 percentile points. Another way that homeschoolers are stereotyped is that people think we are socially awkward. For example, I work in a hair salon, and I once had a lady tell me she was surprised that I talk so much because I am homeschooled. Just because a person is homeschooled does not mean they will be quiet, awkward, or Weird. Homeschoolers are people just like everyone else, and we all have our own individual personalities. On October 31st, 2019, I interviewed Kate Sauce, a fellow homeschooler. Kate is not only homeschooled, but also very religious. One of the questions I asked Kate was, has she ever been stereotyped? And this is what she said. Because I am not only homeschooled, but also religious, a lot of people assume that I am sheltered and I do not know what the world is actually like. They also assume I'm going to be weird because, once again, I am homeschooled and religious. Homeschooling has always been a part of my culture. It can be hard, but it can also have many advantages. Throughout my 17 years of life, I have wondered many times what it'd be like to go to public school. But standing here today, I don't think I could ever imagine or want to imagine being anything besides homeschooled. I have gotten to spend more time with my family, and I have a say in what I learn and how I learn. Although people tend to stereotype homeschoolers, it's not hard to show them we are just like every other person.